Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Belly Up Sports proudly presents its podcast champions of the world, the Jabberjaw, Nick Velasquez, the Roundhead, Matt O'Day, and we represent the Scoreboard Addicts podcast and the Squared Circle. All right, and we're here today to discuss some WrestleMania greatness, is all I can call it. And Matt, I got one question for you.
Are you ready?
I am.
Thanks for coming on, Matt. Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate you. It's an honor to be here, and I know we're in different locations, but do you smell that? It's WrestleMania season, baby.
Smells like it.
Oh,
smells like blood, sweat, tears,
time of the year. It's getting there. Last night,
adrenaline.
Last night pushed me into the right direction for being excited for this year's WrestleMania. But other than that, I mean, with the network on Peacock, it's just so easy to just get lost in all the nostalgia, even if the current product isn't what you like it to be. The older stuff is amazing. You know, we've both been talking about it.
I've literally been watching. I just got to season 8, which is 2000. The first episode of 2000 of Raw right now. I just had it on. So the McMahon Helmsley era has just started, and it hasn't gotten to the point where Tori turns on Kane yet. Spoiler alert: Tori turns on Kane.
Spoilers.
It hasn't gotten to that point yet, but it's leaning that way. She's already spent Christmas with X-Pac, who I absolutely loathe. Has no gimmick whatsoever. He's got no character development. He's the little. No, he's not even himself. If he's himself, he's boring. He's very boring. If that's him, like if that's who he is as a human being, Jesus, just somebody who screams and stands next to people and makes empty threats because he's like 3 feet tall and everybody else is 6'3".
Well, it's his boys. You know, he's allowed to do that when you have a Nash backing you up.
Yeah, I get it, but he's just not good at anything.
The heat is
real. And he wrestles like he's 6'4".
I haven't seen him wrestle in so long. He just came back recently.
I mean, he was agile, but for a guy of his size to not jump off a turnbuckle ever, it's like, wow, you're really boring, dude. To not do a hurricane rana, to not do a springboard at all, to not fly at all at your height, at 5'10", like 180 pounds. Like, really?
He was the most cruiserweight champion, and Hornswoggle was cruiserweight champion. I'm sorry. Even Jacqueline was cruiserweight champion and a better champion. She was a
hurricane rana here and there.
Jackie always did the hurricane ranas.
Yeah. Very boring. But we're not here to talk about X-Pac, Six-Pac, No Pac, whatever you want to call them. I don't really care. We're here to talk about WrestleMania.
No kids.
And it's what we feel about WrestleMania. So we're here to talk about what our favorite WrestleMania is. And I don't think you can really limit yourself to 1 or 2 or 3 that took place in that very ring.
Can't really pick like, the best one ever. Just like you can't pick the best wrestler ever because there's just so many different criteria.
What's your favorite WrestleMania? And give me 17. Top 3. Give me top 3.
Top 3. All right, top 3. I'm gonna say WrestleMania 17.
Okay, and why?
I wrote notes because I was watching it earlier.
Yeah,
to me, it's top to bottom. I think one of the most entertaining WrestleManias. The My Way promo for Austin and Rock, Limp Bizkit, maybe the best wrestling promo that there ever was. To be honest, it was on point from top to bottom. anytime you hear that song, you don't think of Limp Bizkit, you think of
I think of WrestleMania.
exactly.
I do.
And just the TLC match, TLC 2, the Hardys, Dudleys, Edge and Christian, it put them all even more on the map.
They put them into another level above the map. There's no map. They're not in the map anymore. They've reached the upper atmosphere toward the stratosphere. They're not on the map. There's no map for that area.
If they weren't in Texas and they didn't have Rock and Austin, that could have main evented WrestleMania and everybody would have went home happy.
Yeah.
The spear, Edge hit Jeff Hardy dangling in the air, crazy spot. You have Lita getting speared, Spike Dudley, Rhino. Like, you have all these other outside interactions that didn't really take away from the match. Yeah, and they don't have tag title ladder matches like that anymore. I get it now, they don't do anything fun anymore. It's terrible. They don't do anything. And then you have Triple H and Taker, which was a great match, which, later down the line when they wrestled again, they neglected that, which I think was stupid because it's crazy to say, but Taker was like in the prime of his career at this point. And to have those two, that was great. The triple threat hardcore match, Kane, Big Show, and Rhino, Raven, that was a great match. That honestly almost ended WrestleMania. I was listening to the podcast of with Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard, Something to Wrestle With. And they said that when Raven was driving the golf cart during the match, he stopped short and almost went into like the electrical outlet for the entire arena. And if they would have knocked that out, they would have killed power to the whole show. So like the whole show would have ended because of Raven, but thankfully it didn't. And then, Rock and Austin. It's the build-up, the match. That is my top two, almost bottom favorite WrestleMania.
What's your number 2 WrestleMania?
My number 2, probably WrestleMania 30.
Okay.
When the streak breaking, it's like, I was sitting there and watching it, and it was 1, 2, 3, and everybody was like screaming and talking. I was like, no, he kicked out because like you didn't hear music, you didn't hear anything, and then it showed up 21-1. I was like,
I hated that. I hated that only because if you were gonna have somebody break it, for it to be Brock Lesnar, I thought was disrespectful because I have very little adoration or respect for Brock Lesnar as a performer. I don't find him to be very impressive at all. He's big and he's strong. He has 0 mic skills. That's why he has Heyman, right? Because Heyman has better mic skills than he does.
He's actually he's on fire right now, Brock.
That's great. He's on fire.
He's killing the mic.
Nobody's watching.
Hopefully, maybe people are watching because of him. But I understand. I get what you say with Brock. How that
it should have been somebody else. If it was Roman, okay. If it was Seth, I guess pass the torch on. But Brock is like 5 years younger than Undertaker.
Yeah, it should have been.
That's not true. He's like 10 years younger.
Taker said it should have been Roman. Taker was like, "Yeah, I don't really think Brock needed it, but." I really wanted to be Roman. My third WrestleMania, maybe probably when Shawn retired, because that match was just phenomenal.
26?
I think that was 26.
26.
That I feel is the only time the World Championship should not be the main event. Men or women. Got to give the women some love.
I don't.
But, that was just, it was such a good match. It's crazy that it was better than the first one. So yeah, I'll say 26.
So
What about you?
my favorite WrestleMania of my life, WrestleMania 12. Now, my
The
WrestleMania
boyhood
love
dream has come true.
will always center around the Heartbreak Kid, the showstopper, the main event, Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. And that's my Mount Rushmore, by the way. That was my Mount Rushmore. The Heartbreak Kid, Mr. WrestleMania, the showstopper, and the main event. That's my Mount Rushmore.
All right.
But so my WrestleMania love will always center around him. And so as a kid, I didn't have my parents didn't watch wrestling, and they didn't support my watching wrestling to the extent that they were willing to pay money to let me watch wrestling. So I didn't get to watch pay-per-views like that. So the first pay-per-view that I actually ever got to see was a VHS that my dad let me rent of WrestleMania 12.
That's awesome.
But
Good time.
yeah, so I was in Puerto Rico, and obviously in Puerto Rico there's no TV that's in English. I don't speak Spanish. And my dad rented 2 videos for me, and one was like a late 80s, early 90s. I want to say it was late 80s. It had to be late 80s because it was the Rockers. The Rockers and the Steiners were in the WWF at the time, which obviously is now the WWE. But the second one I saw was WrestleMania 12. Obviously, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in the Iron Man match for the WWF Championship.
Yeah,
and it's burned into my brain, Jose Lothario. And I want to say that maybe that's why, is because I found out that he got trained by somebody Spanish, and there were no like Spanish wrestlers at the time that weren't like super gimmicky like Spanish wrestlers. To include guys like Eddie Guerrero, who's super gimmicky, super Mexican for somebody who's not really Mexican.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Because he's American, right? Let's be real. He's American.
He was.
Everything about him, it says Mexico, except for the fact that he was born in America. But I think Jose Lothario coming out and pointing and then seeing Shawn zip line in was just so freaking incredible to me. At least. And then him winning and just the boyhood dream, like you said. WrestleMania 12 is just in my head an hour long. We'd never seen anything like that. And Shawn was that guy that you never saw that before, you know, from ladder matches and cage matches to Iron Man matches. And then when he finally made his return to the Elimination Chamber.
Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's
the first one. Hell in a Cell.
Say again? Hell in a Cell, yes.
No. I'm saying like he was the originator to where he was always, oh, this is a new match. God damn it, pal, get Shawn. And like, you know, they get Shawn in because they know he's gonna put it over and it's gonna be, and he's gonna steal the show.
And I'm not saying he invented these things. I'm just saying is that when they came to WWE, when they came to mainstream, he was there.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they had ladder matches and cage matches and Hell in a Cell and maybe not Elimination Chamber. That's a little bit of a big production for any small production to try to do. But I'm sure they had ladder matches in Mexico and Hell in a Cell in Mexico and stuff like that. And Japan, things like that. Yeah. But Shawn brought it to America, and that was the first time we saw it in the mainstream for our country, at least. And WrestleMania 12 will always be up there for me. And then 25 and 26. The first go around. 25 was the first time I was like, I remember not being home. 25, I was in, I want to say it was 25. I'm pretty sure it was 25. 25, I was in Sacramento, California training for the Army. And I watched it on my laptop.
Oh, wow.
And because I was like staying in like a hotel. And I really thought he was going to win. I really did.
Right.
I wanted him to win so badly. And that match was incredible. It really was. To Taker almost breaking his neck and dying, to, you know, the I don't even know, the imagery of Shawn being the saint, the Undertaker being the sinner with the white and the black. And I also saw it as like It was like a cowboy theme because I'm pretty sure they both showed up wearing cowboy hats. Shawn in the white hat, Taker in the black hat. And I mean, Undertaker's hat is not right.
Taker rising from the hell. It's
100%, and that
does have a lot to do. Things like that. The little things like that make the story so much better.
And they put on a hell of a show. They tore it down, and then the following year, they did it again. And so 25 and 26, Shawn's did a lot of WrestleManias, but 25, 26, after 12 for me.
I think it was 26 when they did the white entrance. Because
they did the white entrance for both. But yeah, those are my three top WrestleManias. They all involve Shawn Michaels wearing white.
Yeah, they do. That's funny, actually.
But I think that wraps up our favorite World Wrestling Federation and Entertainment WrestleMania moments.
It does.
We'll get back with everybody again next time. I'm not sure when next time will be, but we'll get back to you next time. Next time we're feeling froggy. And you know what they say, if you're feeling froggy, you might just jump. But follow us, obviously. You're going to find me at Score Addicts Pod on Twitter, Scoreboard Addicts Podcast on YouTube, at JabberJ, kind of written the way you see it right there, but it's going to be without the AW. And you can find Matt over on Twitter at T2Circle and Instagram at _squared circle. And you can find your wrestling memes over there. You can see Matt on occasion on the Scoreboard Addicts Podcast. And as obviously we're going to be doing a little bit of work over here, and we're calling this one
In This Very Squared Circle. Thank you.
There it is.
Have a good night.
Stay rock.